I was so convinced that my husband was cheating that I nearly destroyed our marriage checking up on him. The twist? In the 32 years we've been together, he never once cheated. But my childhood trauma had me so bridled by fear that I couldn't see the truth standing right in front of me. If you've ever felt like your past wounds are sabotaging your relationships, this story might hit home. Hey there, I'm Lyn Carpenter with Blissful Heart Coaching. Through my Unbridled Authenticity coaching framework, I help successful women break free from people-pleasing and perfectionism so they can live and love with freedom and truth. When I talk about bridling, I'm drawing from the world of horses. In thoughtful horsemanship, a horse learns to respond to gentle pressure while ideally staying connected to its spirit. But many of us, as humans, internalize the pressure around us so deeply that we began to bridle ourselves, suppressing our true thoughts, emotions, and desires to stay safe, accepted, and loved. The unbridling process is about gently loosening those old reins, healing the survival patterns that once kept us safe, and reconnecting with our whole worthy, soul-led selves. My bridled beginning started in childhood. My mom would wake me up in the middle of the night to drive around looking for my dad at bars and sometimes even at other women's homes. Those nights imprinted a deep message in my nervous system. Men cheat and love isn't safe. So when I married my husband, that belief quietly took the reins. Every time he traveled for business, my brain went into overdrive, spinning stories of betrayal that weren't true. I still remember one night pacing the house at midnight because he hadn't called, staring at the phone, my hand shaking as I dialed the hotel. And I hung up before it rang. That fear drove what I now call boundary trampling, not out of disrespect, but out of desperation. Boundary trampling happens when fear makes us cross lines, ours or someone else's, trying to protect what feels threatened. I was so afraid of being hurt that I crossed his boundaries trying to protect myself. My inner rider, that fearful, controlling voice, had a death grip on the reins. My authentic guide, the wise, intuitive part that knew my husband's integrity, was completely drowned out by fear. She's the part of me that leads from truth instead of trauma. We both brought a lot of unhealed childhood trauma into our marriage, and even though we loved each other, we were exhausted, caught in a dance of fear and defense. When we finally went to counseling, I was sure the counselor would fix him, and he thought the counselor was going to fix me. But our counselor didn't try to fix either one of us. He helped us turn inward. That was the shift. When we each started healing our individual wounds, our relationship magically began to heal itself. This is what I call the unbridling process. Step 1 is to recognize your bridling patterns, how the trauma controls your responses. Step 2 is to heal your emotional wounds, not your partner's. And step 3 is to reclaim your authentic self so you can show up whole in love. Here's the controversial truth. Most relationships don't break from lack of love. They break from unhealed wounds trying to feel safe. You can't create authentic intimacy when you're still bridled by fear. Most couples try to manage each other's triggers instead of healing their own. But when you do your own individual unbridling work, something beautiful happens. You stop projecting your fears onto your partner. You stop trying to control outcomes, and you start showing up as your authentic self instead of your wounded self. And that's when love begins to feel safe again. This is where I learned the difference between boundary trampling and sacred fences. Sacred fences sound like, I won't abandon myself to manage your emotions. and I won't ask you to abandon yourself to manage mine. When both people live that way, love becomes honest, not controlling. Today, after 32 years of marriage, we're best friends. We trust each other completely, and we have so much fun together. And yes, we're still deeply connected and intimate after all these years. When love feels safe, intimacy becomes natural again. I'm not checking his every move anymore. He's not walking on eggshells around my triggers. We're both living unbridled, free, grounded, and connected. Horses remind me of this daily. They don't fake trust. They sense congruence, which is the alignment between our inner truth and our outer expression. My husband couldn't trust me fully until I was congruent, until my inside finally matched my outside. When I healed the wound that said men cheat, that belief dissolved. Not because I forced myself to trust, but because I reconnected with my authentic guide, the part of me that could finally receive love. If you're struggling in love, ask yourself, what old wounds are still steering your reactions? Are you trying to control your partner instead of healing your own patterns? What would it look like to loosen your own reins and lead with authenticity? If you'd like to begin that journey, download my free Values Discovery Workbook. It helps you reconnect with your authentic self and builds relationships rooted in truth, not trauma. You'll find the link in the description below. And if this message spoke to you, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share it with someone who might need to hear this today. You never know whose heart it might help set free. Remember, your relationships can only be as authentic as you are. When you unbridle yourself, love stops being something to manage and becomes something you can finally receive. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.